They were built in a different time, with timber, sweat, and with care. Spanning rivers and generations, these covered bridges of Madison County aren't just pieces of history, they're chapters in a living story. And each one tells its own tale of engineering and endurance, of community and craftsmanship, tales of love, loss, and the quiet beauty of Iowa's countryside. They stood through storms, and they also carried wagons, families, and dreams. And still to this day, they carry something more: memory, meaning, and magic. In this special series, we journey through Madison County's 6 remaining covered bridges, from the oldest to the most iconic. So let the stories unfold. Let the timbers speak. Welcome to the Bridges of Madison County. We begin our journey in Madison County with one of the most iconic treasures, the Hogback Covered Bridge. Built in 1884, this charming wooden structure stretches 98 feet across the North River, just 4 miles northwest of Winterset, Iowa. Its name, unlike most bridges in the area, which were named after nearby landowners, was inspired by nature. A limestone ridge at the west end of the valley, whose convex curve resembles the back of a hog. Designed by master bridge builder Benton Jones and constructed by Harvey P. Jones and George K. Foster, the Hogback Bridge features the town lattice truss design, reinforced with a queen post overlay. Made entirely of wood, this unique design was a hallmark of 19th century American engineering: simple, sturdy, and meant to last. Like many bridges of its time, Hogback wasn't just a passageway. It was a part of a community effort. You see, local farmers often took on the task of maintaining the bridge in exchange for exemption from the county poll tax, typically 50 cents. For many men over the age of 21, this meant that painting the bridge or grading nearby roads was not only a civic duty, but a way to preserve their right to vote. In 1992, the Hogback Bridge underwent a careful restoration, preserving its timeless beauty and the structure's integrity. And today, it stands as one of the best preserved covered bridges in Madison County, a proud symbol of the craftsmanship, community, and connection across time. Next, our journey continues with one of the most storied and symbolic landmarks in Madison County, the Cedar Covered Bridge. Built in 1883 by Harvey P. Jones, at 78 feet in length, the bridge originally spanned Cedar Creek, northeast of Winterset, carrying traffic along what is now Highway 169. For decades, Cedar Bridge served as a vital connection for the community. In 1920, it was moved to its current location over Cedar Creek and continued to support vehicles until it was officially bypassed in 1964. And today, it remains the only covered bridge in Madison County that's still open to vehicle traffic. But the Cedar Bridge is known for more than just its architecture. It's a story of heartbreak, perseverance, and the unshakable spirit of a community. After over a century of quiet strength, Cedar Bridge was destroyed by arson in 2002. The loss was devastating, but the people of Madison County rallied, and by 2004, a faithful replica of the bridge stood once again, rebuilt with care, and officially dedicated during the annual Covered Bridge Festival. Tragically, however, disaster struck a second time in 2017 when the bridge was again lost to fire. Yet once more, the community refused to let history fade into ashes. Through fundraising, determination, and really sheer will, a new Cedar Bridge rose again. Completed in 2019, it was officially reopened with a ribbon cutting during that year's Covered Bridge Festival, a powerful tribute to resilience and the deep love Madison County holds for its heritage. Today, the Cedar Bridge stands not only as a functional crossing, but as a centerpiece of a peaceful park, and a powerful reminder that some stories, no matter how many times they burn, will always rise again. Next on our journey, tucked gently into the wooded landscape of Winterset City Park, the Cutler-Donohoe Covered Bridge is a quiet treasure, and a reminder that even the smallest bridges can carry the deepest meaning. Built in 1871 by local craftsman Eli Cox, this 82 feet long bridge originally spanned the North River near Bevington, Iowa. It was one of the earliest covered bridges in Madison County and features the classic town lattice truss design, complete with a pitched roof and wooden tree nails, later reinforced with iron bolts for added strength. Constructed from white pine, likely shipped from Oregon, the bridge stood for nearly a century, carrying travelers and wagons across the water. Its name honors two local families, the Cutlers and the Donohoes, who lived near its original location. As time passed and newer roads developed, the bridge was bypassed by an iron structure in the late 1960s. Weathered and beginning to deteriorate, the Cutler-Donohoe faced an uncertain future. But in 1970, just as the very first Madison County Covered Bridge Festival was being planned, a decision was made to save it. In a feat of old-fashioned ingenuity, house mover Claire Rogers used his 1934 truck and a 16-wheel moving rig to carefully transport the 40-ton bridge to Winterset. The journey took 2 full days, with speeds ranging from a slow crawl to just 12 miles per hour. Once in town, the bridge was temporarily parked at the Little League field, where it was repaired, rebraced, and repainted. Just in time for the festival, it made its final stop in the city park, where it stands today. In 1997, the bridge received a full rehab to preserve its structure and its story for future generations. Today, the Cutler-Donohoe Bridge rests peacefully among the trees, offering a scenic spot for walkers, photographers, and wedding parties alike. Modest in size, but rich in history, it's a symbol of community pride and a quiet echo of the past, whispering through the white pine boards. Stretching gracefully across the Middle River, just 2 miles southeast of Winterset, stands the longest of Madison County's covered bridges, the Holliwell Bridge. Built in 1880 by Harvey P. Jones and George K. Foster, it spans 110 feet, making it not only the longest of the 6 remaining covered bridges in the county, but also the longest timber bridge still standing in the state of Iowa. The bridge takes its name from a nearby landowner and was constructed on the very site where one of Madison County's earliest bridges once stood. That original wooden bridge, built in 1854, was lost to a flood in 1876. However, construction began in 1879 on a new crossing. More than 20 local workers were paid for their labor, and Mrs. Holliwell herself earned a few dollars by boarding the bridge crew. By June 1880, the Holliwell covered bridge was complete. Crafted with a timber town lattice truss, the bridge features a superimposed arch, metal fasteners instead of wooden pegs, and partial arches at each end, making it unique among the county's covered bridges. Over time, changes were made to the bridge's alignment due to frequent flooding that damaged its original abutments. Today, it stands fortified with timber stringer approaches and concrete-filled iron piers. The Holliwell remained in active service for over a century, faithfully carrying traffic until it was bypassed in 1986. But its story doesn't end there. Just a few years later, the Holliwell Bridge would find international fame as one of the iconic locations featured in the Bridges of Madison County film. Director Clint Eastwood was said to have favored this bridge above all the others. And today, fans of the movie, along with history lovers and photographers, continue to visit, drawn by its quiet charm and cinematic legacy. With its rich history, sturdy elegance, and enduring cultural significance, the Holliwell Bridge is where craftsmanship meets storytelling, a place where history and Hollywood come together beneath the shelter of red-painted timbers. Next on our journey, at the edge of the quiet town of St. Charles, stands the oldest of Madison County's 6 covered bridges, the Imes Bridge. Built in 1870 by builder John P. Clark, the Imes originally stood near a grist mill on North River, owned by Van B. Wiggins, and the firm White and Munger. Back then, it was known by many names: Munger Bridge, Mills Bridge, even Wiggins Mill Bridge. Crafted with a pitched roof and the classic town lattice truss, overlaid with a queen post frame, the bridge stretched 82 feet across the water, a sturdy monument to the 19th century engineering. But the Imes Bridge would not remain in one place. In 1887, it was moved for the first time to Imes Crossing over Clanton Creek. The move was overseen by none other than Benton Jones, the legendary bridge foreman responsible for several of the Madison County's covered bridges. And there it stood for decades, quietly serving the local farming community until one dramatic day in 1959, when a truck loaded with 18 tons of corn crashed through the bridge floor into Clanton Creek. Amazingly, though, the damage was repaired in just a week, and the bridge returned to service. But by the 1970s, time and progress had taken their toll. In 1977, the decision was made to preserve the aging bridge by moving it once more, this time to the edge of St. Charles, where it was carefully relocated by master mover Claire Rogers. Today, it rests not over a river, but above a gentle depression in the earth, the heart of a small park. Though it no longer carries wagons or trucks across flowing waters, the Imes Bridge spans something deeper. The story of endurance, adaptation, and the community's unwavering love for its past. The oldest of them all, the Imes Bridge, stands as a tribute to the passage of time, a weathered yet enduring witness to the changing rhythms of life in Madison County. And finally, we come to the most famous of them all, the Roseman Bridge. Built in 1883, this bridge has stood for well over a century, stretching 104 feet across the Middle River, 8 miles south of Winterset. Constructed by county crews under the supervision of Harvey P. Jones and George K. Foster, it features the signature Jones flat roof and a classic town lattice truss design. Uniquely, the lattice planks are slightly thinner than usual, a clue to possible lumber shortages at the time. Named after Edward Monroe Roseman and his family who lived nearby, the bridge was crafted from native timber, with planked flooring and red-painted exterior boards, trimmed in white. Though the steel pilings supporting it today replaced the original wooden ones, the Roseman Bridge remains right where it was first built. But this bridge is more than wood and steel. It's the stuff of stories and legend. One tale dates back to 1892, when a county jail escapee was cornered by a sheriff's posse on this very bridge. The sheriff split his men, sending half to each of the ends. Shots rang out, and a scream echoed through the Middle River Valley. But when the dust settled, the convict had vanished, as if into thin air. Ever since then, strange sounds and cold spots have given the Roseman Bridge a haunted reputation. Still, though, its most lasting fame came not from ghosts, but from Hollywood. In 1994, the Roseman Bridge became the emotional centerpiece of the bridges of Madison County, both the best-selling novel and the Oscar-nominated film. Clint Eastwood, the film's director, was said to have been especially drawn to its quiet power. Though freshly renovated in 1992, the bridge had to be made to look weathered for the filming, and then carefully repainted after production wrapped. With its remote setting, gentle shadows, and history soaked into every beam, the Roseman Bridge holds something sacred, not just structure, but soul. You see, it's not just a bridge, it's a memory. They were built to last just a few decades. However, they've lasted lifetimes. From their lattice trusses to the echoes in their rafters, these bridges remind us that the past is never far behind. It's in the craftsmanship we admire, the stories we share, and the quiet walks we take through time. In a world moving faster every day, the covered bridges of Madison County ask us to slow down, to look closely, to listen carefully, and to remember that even something as simple as a bridge can hold a whole world of meaning. Thank you for traveling with us on this journey through the covered bridges of Madison County.